Good morning, everybody, and welcome back for week 9. We're getting pretty close to the halfway mark on the podcast. Um, Last week we came out of the dumpster. We finally had a positive week after 2 bad weeks. We were 9-5. We're up slightly over 3 units, and um, each player individually didn't even go below 500. So it's not like there was a stinker like me who brought the team down. Everyone was right on pace, but um, yeah, Jamie's still in the lead this year. He's got 26 wins total, 26 and 21. Stone is in his tracks with 19 and 20 right on the line. And I am just an outlier here with a 15 and 24 season. But the holidays are coming up, and I think there's going to be some magic coming my way here soon. So we're going to play it out. With that being said, I'll pass it over to Jamie, who's leading for his opening remarks.
I'm leading, but I have yet to make it over the hump. Or I think maybe I've made it up over the hump on the games one time this year. Um, I've just been getting beat down on some of these last minute, and I'm going to take the opportunity to crap on Baltimore right here for giving up this horrible ending. I mean, they gave up a touchdown, then it looks like the 2 point conversion, then they take it away. Then there's an onside kick, and then they drive down, and then they decide to kick a field goal because there's not enough time instead of going for a touchdown. Analytics is ruining my lines. It's 2 field goals now, at least, that have killed me at the end. That the field goals did not change the outcome of the game whatsoever. So I'm looking forward this week to get over that hump. Other than that, great season so far for me.
Stone, how about yourself?
I think I've been doing the best on the games, but I'm still right around 500. So I'm still trying to catch Jamie, but it's getting harder and harder because he's just crushing the player picks, and it's for overall it's hard to keep up when he's got 4 picks every week, and we got two.
Yeah.
So we gotta pull some wins out, get some more picks on the board, and hopefully I can try and catch up. Still half the season left, so anything's possible, but
Yep, we're going to be going 20 weeks deep into this thing. That'll take us into the divisional round of the playoffs. There should be enough lines there for that. So with week 9, we're almost halfway. Um, my little notes here was less about us and more about um, the kind of day that Josh Harris had this week, where he greenlit a trade to trade James Harden in like the wee hours of the morning. And then a couple hours later, he traded away Chase Young and Montez Sweat, also first rounders. And that's a pretty powerful guy right there. Just changing the
Yeah,
course of franchises just in one day. Um, but yeah, I'm in the bottom. I'm not even looking at you guys. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to get 3-1. All right. The
there you
first
go.
week of the season, I was 4-0, made it look really easy. Since then, I have made it look very challenging. So we're going to try to bring it back this week. Um, and so with that being said, I'll click over to week 9 and we will start. Um, Game should be a little bit quicker. There's less picks, so we'll start on the game side this week. And Stone will have 3 picks, and then Jamie with 2, and then myself with 2. So Stone, whenever you are ready.
I'm gonna start my first pick off with one of the hottest teams in football right now. I think Bengals and Joe Burrow. He's back. They're designing like QB draws for him. I think there's no more calf worries at all. I think they're on the last half of the season. I think they're gonna start just crushing teams, and I'm gonna take them -2 against the Bills for minus 112. And they're at home, so even the Bills have looked a little shaky at times, and I think Joe Burrow's carrying that Bengals team to the playoffs right now.
Yeah. I like this pick. I think the Buffalo's been a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. They're good one week and then they're bad the next week. Like you said, Joe Burrow's coming on, and that defense we laughed at the first 5 weeks about the rushing defense is coming around, and I think that's helped a ton.
Yeah, I just think back to that weird statement that Jamar Chase made about week 4. He said something about week 4, and the first 4 weeks they didn't look right. It probably the cap thing with Burrow, and then all of a sudden in the last 4 weeks they've been world beaters. And so laying 2 at home does not seem like a problem. It was one of my honorable mentions, but it wasn't my one on my list. But Jamie, you're up next.
Okay, so I am going to go with Kansas City Chiefs, the team total under 25.5 at -112. So they are traveling to Germany. Before the podcast started, we had a little discussion about Pat Mahomes being sick last week. Could be anything, flu. I don't know if you have the flu and then you travel. It doesn't seem like a great combination. Plus, the travel is longer than normal. You're going overseas. So here's a little fun fact: Kansas City has gone under their team total 6 of 8 games this season, and they're averaging 23.4 points a game. So I like this.
Just another tidbit on that. I always look at this when there's international games, but when the teams arrive there, Kansas City got there I think Friday morning or something, and the Dolphins got there Tuesday morning. So I think it gives them a couple extra days to get in the time zone, and I usually go with the teams that are getting there earlier as well. So I think them going under is a solid pick.
Yeah, I thought about the Dolphins, but they beat up on the bad teams and then they got crushed by good teams. So wanted to stay away from that.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess it's up to me. I have that one in a totally different manner than both of you guys, so I'm not even going to say anything. That would just only satisfy you guys more that I was going to go on the opposite side of that. But the first pick I'm going to pick is I'm going to take LA Rams +3, -105, traveling to Green Bay. You might see a theme with this week. I just think going back to one of my future picks, I just think Green Bay is not a good team, and I think they're trying to convince themselves that their quarterback is something that they're not. And the Rams need a get right game. They haven't looked good the last 2 weeks, but I will take the +3 with the quarterback that is probably the most inaccurate quarterback in the entire league against those two wide receivers and the Rams, and hold my breath a little bit, we'll say, and see how that kind of plays out. I was expecting this by the podcast to go to +3.5, but it didn't, so I just got to hold out here.
I mean, I looked at this game too. I was uneasy because of Matt Stafford. But yeah, Green Bay's bad. I think they scored like 10 points and then 17 points last. Like they haven't broke 20 in a long time. And if it's a close game, or if it's under 20, it's going to be a close game. So +3 is a good line.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Yep. So
All right.
we'll go back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
For
Go
my
ahead.
next one, I'm gonna take the Eagles -3 at -108. I just think the Eagles looked a little shaky last week, but they always, for whatever reason, the Commanders always play them close. It's the weirdest thing ever. But I still think the Eagles, one of the best teams in the league, and I'm still not sold on Dallas. I think it's gonna be a high-scoring game. I think Dak Prescott's gonna put up some numbers, but I still think the Eagles will cover that -3, especially at home.
And my thinking is if you're the Eagles, you want to run the ball to keep that Dallas offense off the field as much as possible. So again, running the ball leads to close games. So we'll see.
All right, Jamie, you're up next.
So I'm very happy this did not get sniped. I'm going to take the Jets +3.5 at -112. They're at home. They have a good pass defense. The Chargers' run game is inefficient. They lean on their passing game, so I think it's strength versus strength here. New York, they want to run the ball, and the Chargers' run defense isn't great. So I think it's going to be a close game here too, and it goes well for that 3.5. They need a touchdown to put it over or 2 field goals.
Does
Yeah.
it scare you that they couldn't beat Tommy DeVito by an overtime field goal? Does that worry you?
I mean, like a little bit, but it's the defense wasn't the problem. It was the offense.
Yeah.
I mean, Tommy DeVito had -9 passing.
Yeah.
It wasn't Tommy DeVito that did it. It was Saquon.
I think the Giants are actually a solid defensive unit. And I think any like solid unit will give Zach Wilson problems. So
And I would say the Chargers are not. They've
yeah,
been better since they got rid of J.C. Jackson. I tell you what, man, that has never been more of a validation of a GM decision than, man, they got rid of him and their passing defense immediately got better.
yeah,
Yeah.
they spent a lot of money on that guy.
Yeah, 80 million or something.
So the last pick that I got for this is I'm taking Las Vegas money line. The line is only right now at -1. Last time I checked, it was at sitting -1 was -120, so it seemed like it was going to move. The line for the money line was 132, -132, so that was kind of laying a lot of chalk there. But
You
they
need
just got
wins,
rid of their
buddy.
coach. What's up, Jamie?
I said you need wins. Don't
Oh
worry
yeah,
about
it doesn't
it.
even matter. I'm so far behind on units that I need like the rest of the season to come back. But they just got rid of their coach. I think they're gonna play a little bit more inspired. What I'm expecting to happen is just like every other coach has figured out already this season, you got to feed your best player no matter what, 100% of the time, especially when he suck. And so Devontae Adams, I think, is going to get a lot of receptions. Saw some weird stat that like Hunter Renfrow, not saying he's a world beater or he's like the greatest player, but he's like their third wide receiver on the depth chart. He only had like 2 or 3 receptions going into the previous week. And so the only people that were getting receptions were the 1 and 2. And it just we've watched them. They haven't been good, but I'm hoping that they play inspired at home. They're playing the Giants. I know they're saying that Daniel Jones is going to be back, but he didn't look great when he was in there to begin with. I'll take the money line at home. I normally look for like home dogs and try to like kind of scheme on that. There was only one this week, which was Carolina, and this one was as close as you could get at the -1. So I'm going to take Las Vegas money line. I'm going to pass it back to Stone for his final pick of the week for games.
Might do something a little crazy and do a head-to-head here. I don't like the Raiders at all. Daniel Jones coming back. I think the Giants defense is a lot better than people give him credit for. And I think Aiden McConnell, I don't think he's like that much better than Jimmy G. And I think just in general, new coach. I don't know. I was gonna do the spread, but just to make it a little spicy, I'm gonna go Giants money line, and I think it's a plus 114.
That seems right. That's about 30, 34 on the back end.
So I think this is like the first straight up head to head we've had. So
this is, yeah, I think we had something close before, but it was like in the same game, slightly unrelated. But yeah, this will be the first actual head to head of the year. I need to be a better producer so I can have like some buttons so I can make some noise or something. But, yeah. All right. Well, that's it for the game side. Now the player side, where Stone and I are getting absolutely destroyed, is Jamie's got 5 picks. We both have 2 picks, and Jamie's up first. So whenever you're ready.
I wanted to get this one out the way. Let's, segue right into that same game. What we talked about Saquon last week is rush attempts. Guess what? It's going to be a crappy game. We got a brand new quarterback on the other side. Even if Daniel Jones comes back, I don't think they just open it up for him. So we got Saquon at over 18.5 rush attempts. And I lost the line on that, so you have to give me a second.
yeah, I think Raiders are not a great rushing defense, and I just think they're gonna feed Saquon. They need to with that offense. So I like this pick a lot. And I was looking at his rushing total lines as well. I just think they have a 1-year loan on him. Might as well just use him.
Yep, just use. It is -105.
He also like doubled that number last week.
Yeah, he had 30
yeah.
last week. In Las Vegas is the third worst run defense.
Yep.
Lean on your guy, even if it's inefficient. And won him the game last week without Daniel, and think you just throw back Daniel and you make him throw it 32.
All right, Stone, you're up next.
I'm gonna go with a line against one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and they also lost their number one receiver, Demario Douglas, New England Patriots against the Commanders. His line's at 42.5 receiving yards at -115. They just lost Kendrick Bourne to ACL. Juju is completely washed. No one else really there, and Commanders have been one of the worst pass defenses in the league. And I think 42.5. There's been some hype around Douglas coming in the league, so I think he's going to slowly start taking over that wide receiver room, and I think now's a good week to do it against the Commanders.
It is very rare. Go ahead, Jamie.
We got rid of our top 2 pass rushers, so I do have some information on the other side. With the last time those 2 guys didn't play, Hill and our our other backup DN, they're like 6-2 when they start, which is odd thing. It goes back to what I was saying the last couple weeks, is those DNs were not playing within the defense. I hope the trend bucks so that you can get this W here, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's going to tell you everything you need to know about me and the Patriots. When you said that person's name, I had no idea what stat was coming next. Like, I didn't even recognize the guy's name. I was like, is it +0.5 sacks against the Commanders? Who is this person?
I don't necessarily like the Patriots to win this game. I just think the Commanders have given up a lot of pass yards, and they're one of the worst pass defenses. And I just think he's 42.5 slow, and he's a rookie. He showed some flashes, so I think he's gonna start taking over.
Well, I think it's a little skewed by A.J. Brown just annihilating Forbes anytime he can play him. My goodness, he should never, ever get matched up with A.J. Brown again.
It's just missed draft picks. I mean,
I don't think it's a missed draft pick. He's a smaller cornerback.
He's smaller.
You shouldn't be matching him up against the beefiest wide receiver out there.
He had led the SEC in interceptions last year, and then he comes in here. He could barely get on the field. It seems like he's better when they're not on the. They're better when he's not on the field, but
he's learning. But I just, Devontae Smith's on the other side. That's a slender wide receiver. Match him up with Devontae Smith. Get someone bigger than me.
So my first pick of the week, going back to the future, going back to one of my other picks I have this week, and if I could write an article or a blog on this, I totally would. I think they're going to look back at the Jordan Love draft pick, and they're going to say that was the end of our Super Bowl era. They had just came off of a 1 game away from the championship or the Super Bowl. They decided to kick a field goal. They needed help at other positions. They spent a first-round draft pick on a quarterback, and just to display statistically where he is, he throws 16% of his balls to nobody. Inaccurate, uncatchable, 16% of his balls. His completion percentage, there are 32 quarterbacks that have over 100 passing attempts. He's dead last in completion percentage. If you say, okay, 100, maybe there's some people in there, some fallbacks. There's 27 that have thrown over 200. He's dead last. He's even worse. He's worse than Zach Wilson, Ritter, all of them. Absolute garbage. They're going to look back and be like, man, we really messed that up. We had Devontae Adams in a Hall of Fame quarterback, and we moved on. Anyway, I digress. Jordan Love, over 0.5 interceptions, -130. He has thrown an interception in 5 of each, at least one in the last 5 games, and he is looking absolute garbage. The press is starting to heat up on him. The backers are starting to look garbage, and this is, if I got anything right this year, it's got to be that. And it's probably the only thing I got right this year. So with that, I got -130 on that, and I will pass it back unless anyone wants to add anything to that.
Not to that rant. That's good.
Garbage squad. So I'll pass it back to Jamie for his second pick.
All right. So my second pick, I'm going to go with Kamara over 4.5 receptions. And that's at -110.
Did you say 4.5?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
So Chicago is 26th versus running backs in fantasy, so they're giving up a lot of points, a lot of yardage, but they're third against the run. So that leads credence. A lot of passing and touchdowns that are getting done by the running backs facing them, and I think Kamara can get 4 receptions in one drive. Carr loves to check down, so
Yeah, to add to that, I was looking at this line too. They the Bears give up the most receiving yards to running backs in the league. I
there we
was
go.
looking at that stat, so it's a little unknown, but Kamara like fits in perfectly to that. So yeah, they're gonna pass it to him. Next one, I'm going for a little different. I didn't like a lot of the lines this week, so I'm going a little reaching down there, but I'm going for Chuba Hubbard over 46.5 rushing yards at -110. Miles Sanders has been one of the worst like acquisitions for the Panthers. I don't know if it's because he's injured or what, but Hubbard has completely like outshined him every single week. The Colts are one of the worst rush defenses, bottom half for sure, and I just think they're gonna keep giving Hubbard the ball. And I think he had a crazy amount of carries last week. Didn't really turn it into a bunch of yards, but I think against the Colts he'll turn it around this week.
Yeah, it's got to be close. It can't be nearly as close as what we saw Thursday night with Warren and Harris as far as like who's actually better. But yeah, they've had Hubbard there for a couple years, and he's a good player in college, and he's a good player in the NFL. So I like that pick. Jamie, I think you're up next. Oh no, excuse me, I'm up next, and then you got 3 in a row. Yeah, I was like, we got to balance this out somehow. So last week I had Will Levis, which was the I would say the most outrageous one of the week. And this isn't necessarily in the same vein, but just another guy that I would say vibe with, and that's Taylor Heineke. He was better than Ritter. As long as he doesn't turn the ball over, he'll be out there. I got a couple different lines here to choose from. Um, and the direction I'm going to go with this is just Heineke over 27.5 attempts. So Ritter had gone over that number every single game. And then if you take Ritter and Heineke last game, they went over that. I am slightly concerned that the Vikings won't keep it close enough to actually matter for him to pass it. But they like to do the short passing game. They don't have a lot of wide receiver threats. And with Drake London being out this week, I'm expecting them to go even more short passing game. The other ones, some of the other lines, he had 11.5 rushing. I'm going to hit that. Out of that 27.5 attempts, 18.5 completion. I'm going to hit that. And with a passing number of 210.5, I'm going to hit that. I'm going to have an entire Heineke ticket. Love the guy. Love the story. He motivates the team. Saw it last year. And that attempts was minus 122 right before the pod. So
Yeah,
that'll be my. Go ahead.
I think quietly Minnesota's defense has become better as the season's progressed. Early on, Kirk was having to hold them up, but I think lately they've been doing good, and that's mostly because their run D. They're 13th in run D, so that just leads credence that they're going to have to pass the ball to win. And 27 is pretty low. You think in like a normal NFL game is 60 to 80 plays offense, so that's less
Yeah.
than half passing. I mean, I know the team leans running, but if they stop the run a bunch, they're going to have to.
Yeah, I just don't. Arthur Smith is like the weirdest like coach ever. He makes like some like really weird decisions. Uh, but I think yeah, I don't know. I just don't like the Falcons in general. I think it's a sketchy situation, but
We
I've been
talked
unfortunate.
at the
Go ahead,
beginning of
Jamie.
we talked about them at the beginning of the year under their win totals because of what team do you know that has gone very far being a rushing only team?
I've unfortunately watched them every single week since they played the Commanders, and now I'm just going to add to it here. Maybe because I'm in the South, but yeah. Anyway, there's not Necco, is there?
No, not that I hear.
Okay, my headset just died, but I don't have any more picks left other than the touchdown thing. So, Jamie, the floor is yours for however you want to do your 3 picks here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do kind of two coupled together. My first one's going to be Lamar Jackson for 1.5 passing touchdowns. And this, I got some value here. This is at plus 140. And so my reasoning behind this is Seattle has the 22nd ranked pass defense, and surprisingly, their rush defense is pretty good. And getting into my next pick, Mark Andrews anytime touchdown at plus 150. Seattle has the third worst red zone defense. So I just think, Baltimore gets close. They punch it in with a passing touchdown. Hopefully one to Mark Andrews, one to someone else. Any notes on those two guys?
Nope.
Nope, not at all. Not on my notes. Not even a little.
And my final one is Jerome Ford at over 42.5 rushing yards. And that's at minus 115. Arizona is the 25th rush defense. And it looks like they're leaning towards playing their third string QB, Clayton Tune. It's his first career start against literally one of the best defenses in the NFL. I expect this to be a smackdown. And, what happens during smackdowns, you run the ball, you get the game over early.
Yeah,
hoping,
plus.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Sam.
I'm hoping you break the spreadsheet this next week and get 6 picks next week.
What do I need? 3?
Yeah, you
I'm
just
just
need
gonna
3.
go. I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here. I hope you don't, not because of that it wouldn't be that we would, but that would require me to put a lot of work back into this spreadsheet. But the good thing about having an odd number is you're either going up or down.
Yeah.
Unless last week you did break even on a pick on a different platform, but yeah, you're either going up or down. So it could we'll. I also like what you're doing with the equity here. With you get all those extra picks, you throw some plus numbers in there.
Well, you gotta put my lead out of reach.
Yeah, get some units under your belt now. That's what you're going for.
Yeah. So that's going to close it out for the picks. Now we're going to pivot over into the touchdown parlay, which we're still up 9 units on. We've hit twice in the first 8 weeks. Haven't hit it for 2 weeks in a row. The longest we've gone without hitting it is 3 weeks, so this would match the longest it hasn't hit. But with that being said, we're going to go just in order because of the spreadsheet. We'll go Stone and then Jamie and then myself.
I'm gonna go with CeeDee Lamb at plus 125. Had a massive game last week going against the Eagles, who have not been good on passing defense. I think Dak's gonna have to throw it to him if they're gonna even try and win this game. So I think plus 125 is pretty good odds for that. I don't think he was
like
picked. No.
No, I don't see CeeDee Lamb.
I can't believe this guy hasn't been picked yet. Now I'm looking at it. Tyreek Hill, revenge game against the Chiefs, minus 125.
125, you said?
Yep.
I like it. And then I'm going to take a reach here, and you guys are going to hate it. That's okay, because this is what we do. This guy's been, I've had him on fantasy. His stock has just risen every single week. I know with everything happening in Las Vegas that things are not lining up appropriately, and I don't think he's been picked yet. But I'm going to pick Jacoby Myers to get a touchdown, and that number is at plus 240. So that's a lot. But one thing we did hit Thursday night, even though it wasn't on any podcast or no one, we hit at the Deontay Johnson touchdown Thursday night. And so I'm feeling kind of hot, and I'm thinking Jacoby Myers is next. I'm expecting the new coach to kind of hype him up and get that win, and we got a head-to-head going now. So things just got even more real than they used to be.
I think it's going to be Aiden McConnell. The last time Aiden McConnell started, he threw like 2 targets to Myers and threw like it at Devontae Adams all game, and they still lost. But like, it wasn't.
I also remember their rookie tight end. I think his last name is also Myers or
Yeah.
Meyer. Yeah, he
So I
also
think
like called
you
out.
trying to double up here? Is that what you're saying?
No,
no, I
But
think
Myers
number.
gets the ball.
I think Devontae Adams has a lot of sway now, and I think
Yeah.
Aiden McConnell is just gonna chuck it at him the whole time. Not Myers. I think Adams is gonna get the ball a lot more, but
I would have picked Adams except for the sake that I already picked him once, and it was a total waste of a play. And that might have been the last time Aiden O'Connell started as well. So we're just gonna just keep rolling it out here. Any final thoughts? I'll pass it over to Jamie just for the sake of any honorable mention or final thoughts for week 8.
No, I honestly dug pretty deep on all these picks because we've been getting vultured and it's getting harder and harder, especially with 5-player picks, to find lines that I like. I would say our TD picks look good. I mean, I would just say for the pod, in addition to the parlay, I mean, just look at these picks individually because we have hit on a lot of these touchdown picks. We've hit the parlay twice now, but just individually, these have hit a bunch. And normally, a lot of these are plus numbers. There's some big names that have minus numbers, like let me throw out McCaffrey, but otherwise, you can get some good value just picking the anytime TD.
That's the kind of feedback I need to make the spreadsheet better because I could add so much more stats to this piece of the spreadsheet that would like really depict that. So, yes, I agree. We are actually killing it on that. So, how about you? Honorable mention, final thoughts, anything at all?
yeah, don't go too much else. I was looking at a lot of different lines this week, and I just couldn't find much that I liked a lot. But it's getting harder and harder. They also this week seems like they also like don't have a ton of lines out. Just I think there's like a ton of backup QBs starting this week, so I think Vegas is still trying to like figure out who's actually starting, and the lines are a little weird this week.
I had 2 notes, whether it was for intro or outro here, and the first one was I think this is the worst quarterback play that I've seen in 20 years. Just the names that are out there, the fact that these backups aren't guys. Like we had years of like Hall of Fame level quarterback play from like 10 people across the league. You could always turn on the game and see some guy ball out, and that is just not the case right now. And I think QBR in general is down pretty low this year, which is why the unders are hitting quite a lot. That's my opinion. Yeah, and then other than that, Commanders +3 at the.
Don't worry, I think the NFL will put some new rules in to make sure defenses can't be good anymore for next year. So we'll be fine.
Also, yeah, the number they had games that weren't on the board yet because they didn't know who was playing. Like the Cardinals was been on and off the board. They have a handful of bye weeks. There's only 12 Sunday games this week, which is going to be the lowest. This was definitely probably the worst week. If you were going to take a break, this week would be the week to take a break. But we don't take breaks here.
Yeah, and I think a part of it is because the league has gone to the hybrid QB, the one rushing and passing, and you're the old guard, the old stand in the pocket and deliver the ball. QB is fading out of the NFL, and if you look at those rushing quarterbacks, they get hurt easily. Kyler Murray. I mean, Jalen Hurts is hurt right now. He's just playing through it. If you watch him run, he's limping. A lot of these guys, they get dinged up or, and concussion protocol, that's another thing. They fall the wrong way. Now you get taken out because the whole Tua situation, and no one has played if they've gone into concussion protocol. So you're seeing a lot of backups this year, I feel like.
I think Brock Purdy was like the only one. That was like a crazy turnaround on that. So.
Yeah. And then I love the overs, and I will just say that I'm getting beat down on the overs. And yeah, I attribute it to all of those things. The other thing with the running quarterback is it's analytics and the running quarterback. It used to be I would like watch, and anytime they got in the red zone, they'd take the points. You hit the over all the time. Now, if you get there's I'm literally only watching. It's you could chase the overs to fourth down percentage. They're going for it more. If people don't get it, you might as well, pack it up and turn on a different game because there's no way they're going to hit the over. I'm getting a beat down.
I don't hate the analytics saying go for it on fourth downs. I just like some of the plays they're running on these fourth downs are just terrible. Unless you're like the Eagles who like get it almost every time. Some of these teams are just running terrible plays on like 4th and 2 and 4th and 1. Like trying to be too tricky.
Early in the season, the Chiefs running a jet sweep.
Yeah.
With Mecole Hart. Well, no, they probably didn't have him. Some small receiver, and it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I think Kelsey was out, and that's the play they normally run with Kelsey, but man, not a good. Andy Reid, even the genius, can't even think of good ones. So,
the fact that you see more and more lines in the 30s and any line on the 40s, you're like, I can't touch that. That's not a good product. That's not a good product on the field. Anyway. Well, that's it for week 8. Thanks for joining us. Gamble responsibly, and we will see everyone next week that was week 9. We'll see everyone next week for week 10, and after that, we'll be halfway through the season. So that's it.